Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel, Cape Cod Like a Local. I'm Tori and I'm here today with our team's transaction coordinator, Darci, and we're going to talk about what you can expect after you've had an accepted offer.
Thanks, Tor. Okay, so this is such an exciting time. The first thing that's going to happen after the seller has accepted your offer is you are going to need to schedule a home inspection. So we will provide you with 3 or 4 different home inspectors to choose from. Sometimes it's difficult to get the right timing, or sometimes the time frame in which you need to complete your inspections is tight. So you go through these inspectors and just ask them different questions like pricing and scheduling, and you'll get that inspection scheduled. So one of us from the Gervais Group team will, go with you to the home inspection and hold your hand through that whole process.
So at my home inspection, am I able to request additional inspections like a radon or a lead test, things like that?
Okay, so yes, the short answer is yes, but it wouldn't be at the home inspection. I think you'd want to talk to your home inspector prior to actually getting to the inspection. So while you're scheduling, you can ask your home inspector about radon. That's a different set of equipment that they can bring to the inspection. Sometimes it's a little canister that they leave and needs to be picked up a couple of days later. Other times it's more beefy equipment that goes down in the basement and reads every hour on the hour the radon levels. So the inspector is going to want to know whether you need that from him ahead of time. That's an additional cost. It's not part of the typical home inspection cost. And then with lead paint, that's also something that you'd want to talk to the home inspector about. Not all of them are licensed to test for lead. That's a special license that somebody needs. And if the house was built prior to 1978, which is when lead paint was outlawed, the seller would have made a disclosure to you, the buyer, saying whether they know about lead paint or whether they don't. And that's when you'd make your decision as to whether you want to waive the opportunity to have a lead test or go ahead and have a lead test.
Okay, so say I got through my home inspection period and nothing major came up. I'm not super concerned about any of the results of my inspection. What happens now?
Okay, well, first of all, congratulations. That doesn't happen often. But let's say that is the case. The next part of the transaction is that you would move towards the purchase and sales agreement, which is the longer, more binding document. The offer form is a binding contract, but this is where the attorneys for you and for the seller negotiate all of the items that come up in a purchase and sales agreement for a residential transfer, type of a contract.
Had something come up on my inspection, this would also be the point at which negotiations begin on negotiating those inspection items that I had concerns with.
Yep. And sometimes you can ask the seller to make repairs, or you can ask the seller for a concession to credit at closing. Actually, you can refer back to a video that Dan and Nancy did a while back on what to expect with the home inspection process.
So after the seller's attorney drafts the purchase and sale and sent it to my attorney and we've got that all signed up, is this when when my second escrow deposit is due?
Exactly. So when you make the offer, you're making an offer, you're making a deposit with the offer, and it's due when the seller signs the offer. And that's consideration. That's what binds that contract. Same thing with the purchase and sales. There's a second escrow deposit that would be due, and you're going to want to get that check delivered to your agent so that it can go over to the listing agent. Sometimes they require bank checks. Sometimes it's okay to be a personal check, but we'll give you an indication on how to follow through with that process correctly.
And once that's all squared away, now it's time to get my homeowners insurance binder.
Yes. A good idea whether you're financing or paying cash. If you're paying cash for the property, nobody's going to require you to have homeowners insurance. It's always very smart to do so. But if you're financing, then definitely part of the underwriting process with your lender is that they are going to require you to see or to obtain a homeowner's insurance binder. We also have recommendations for local insurance agents. That jars my memory. I think we also did a video a while back, Dan did, on using local people who really know the Cape Cod market.
I'll link it below. I think it was Building Your Dream Team is what it was called.
Yeah.
Dream Team for the transaction.
So we'll let you know who you can go to for your insurance binder, and you'll get that all squared away. And at that point, you're going to be pretty close to home free.
Okay, so I'm working with my loan officer. I've obtained my homeowner's insurance binder. Am I done? I mean, what comes after this? Am I clear to close?
No. This is when you really need to stay in constant contact with your loan officer. Especially if this is the first time you've purchased a home, there are things that you need to know not to do, and they can guide you through that. For instance, don't go buy furniture on a credit card prior to closing on your new home. That's going to affect your debt to income ratio. And
don't quit a job.
Don't quit a job. Don't close any credit accounts.
Buy a car.
Yeah. So you can pay down debt. That's perfectly fine. But you don't want to close any accounts, because once those accounts stop reporting to the credit bureaus, that could negatively impact your credit score. So this is a very important time in the underwriting process. You want to make sure that you are always checking in with your loan officer when they ask you to provide updated documents like a new pay stub or a new bank statement. It's tedious, but just do whatever it is that they're asking you to do, and do it timely. You don't want to get in a position where you're not fully clear to close by the time your closing has, been scheduled.
And once you obtain that mortgage commitment, you generally are clear to close?
Generally, yeah. There might be some final conditions that need to be met, but your loan officer is going to walk you through all of that. And at that point, we would schedule a final walkthrough at the home that you're buying, because we like to do it as close to closing as possible, preferably the day of closing. So if you're closing at noon, we'd want to meet at the property around 10 a.m. just to make sure it's there and that lightning didn't strike overnight, or there was a flood in the basement, or the seller left a bunch of trash in the yard. We just want to get that process done so that you can go to the closing and feel really settled and clear-minded, so that you can get all that stuff signed and own that home.
And generally there's verbiage that would say that the property is to be left in broom swept condition?
Yep, that's just standard boilerplate language that's going to be in the purchase and sales agreement, actually, that, the property should be vacant, free of tenants, free of all of the seller's belongings, unless you've negotiated other, items to stay. Maybe the seller's giving you the washer and dryer or the fridge. We just check through all of that while we're doing the final walkthrough.
So, got my clear to close. Is there anything I need to bring with me to the closing table?
Yes, and you should really take the advice of whoever the paralegal or the closing attorney is. They're going to give you very specific instructions. But generally speaking, you're going to want to bring your license. They will take a copy of your license. Some banks require a second form of ID with a picture on it, maybe a library card or something like that. There'll be a final amount due at closing. So you've made your escrow deposits along the way, and you're borrowing X. And if there's anything in between that, you need to bring that money to closing. So that would be in the form of a certified bank check. And again, your closing attorney will help you through that process. So once all the signing is done, all that needs to happen is that new deed from the seller over to you as the new owner of the property needs to be recorded at the Registry of Deeds, along with a copy of your mortgage and everything else that gets recorded. Once those things have been recorded, your attorney
are on
will,
record. That's what we call
on record. Either your agent or your attorney will let you know that you're officially the new owner of the home, and you'll have those keys in your hand, and
it's yours.
And it's yours.
So we hope you guys found this video helpful and that it explained kind of all of the ins and outs of the transaction process from the time you have a signed contract to the closing table. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next week on Cape Cod Like a Local. Bye!
Bye.
So what do I say?
You should try to like just tilt a little bit. Don't you think? Your chair. I mean, you're both look like this.
This will be fun. You know, we can
Fine.
make a nice warm discussion.
Okay, I love warm discussion. And kind of hold your hand through that. You'll have to cut that out.
Okay. You want it?
And then you're home free, literally. And you, well, no, not literally.
Okay.
See you later.
But I haven't done the close.
Oh, I need to be here for that?
Yeah.
Jesus.
So we help you go. So we help you get.
Oh my God! Was I not supposed to say?
No, you were.
Okay. So thanks for watching.
I'll do it.
Okay. Whoa! You're gonna use some of this.